So who all is stoked about buying local food and supporting local farmers and stuff like that? Yay! Unfortunately, that entire system is still totally just based on white supremacy. That sucks. Yeah, so I work at a farm. It's an organic farm. We grow vegetables and all that sort of stuff. And unfortunately, everywhere that our food goes is just like yuppie restaurants and to people who can afford these really expensive CSAs. And even the people who work at the farm, most of us are white and documented, and we are able to work there because of our privilege. And that really sucks because farm work is an extractive industry. It extracts from communities. People live way shorter lives when they are working in farm working environments, and it's a privilege to not have to be exposed to toxic chemicals on a regular basis, even when you're still getting paid minimum wage. Also, access to land is even like higher level of privilege. I am not at that level at all, and the people who are making the decisions about what is being grown, where the food is being sold, sort of like how that food is grown, whether it's done in a safe way, that's in an increasingly smaller and smaller percentage of people. Even your local organic natural food farm that has like the cute Facebook profiles and everything like that, it's still a pretty like small elite of farmers who are getting to do that. And also the word farmer, usually people are asking like, oh, so you own land, where is that land? And that's not actually true for almost all farmers. People seem to think it's just old white dudes that do farming. So, the place I work at on Sabi Island, the agricultural land there, it's pretty good soil. It's at the confluence of two of the largest rivers in the country, and a lot of that just gets wasted, whether it's being left out in the field because the produce isn't good enough to pick and it's not going to make a profit for the restaurants that they're selling it to, or they're just going to high-end restaurants where like a lot of people who are wealthier, they can just afford to waste food and it's totally fine with them. Instead, a lot of that food, basically all the food on Sabi Island, could be going to schools, and really the city and the county should be making it a priority to directly fund workers and systems to improve access to safe food and make sure that people are actually getting that nutrition. Even at home, who here has a garden that they grow food in? A lot of time, who gets access to safe food grown in their home is based off a lot of privilege. Whether it's having the home that you can grow the food at, whether you like are a renter and have a shitty landlord, or you actually own your own home and can do whatever the hell you want, or environmental racism is also dictating what kind of toxins are in the soils and who can actually eat the food that is grown in those soils. So what we are starting to work on is a system for a just transition from the extractive food industry that we are doing, and there has been so much work that is going on around that already. Teresa and Maria were talking about the folks that we're hanging out with who are like the rock stars of the food justice kind of movement, in my opinion, and unfortunately they left today, so they can be talking about this instead. But we need to be making sure we have access to land and an ability to grow food for the people. So that means farm worker unions. Farm workers are exempt from union organizing under the national labor thing that is a law. We need community land trusts that are actually like honoring the land that we live on, since we are on stolen Multnomah land, and like making sure that the people who need that food have access to that land, who can work on it and get a living wage doing it. And we need people to actually grow food in their yards. So a lot of you have gardens, and that's great. And unfortunately, a lot of the times the people who get to do all the cute like local food movement gardening and stuff, they can also just afford to buy food at the store. So we all need to be stepping up. I get a lot of free food from work, so that's kind of nice. So then the food that I'm growing in my garden, which I'm also doing, could be going to the food bank at the school in my neighborhood. And that's just like things that we can start working on together as a community. So we need to actually be moving beyond the kind of like decentralized anarchist model. I mean, it's all still going to be anarchist, but like the decentralized model of people kind of doing things when you have time and actually building these systems so that people can work with institutions that are already there, whether it's through the Urban League or the Oregon Food Bank or other nonprofits, and but then like putting it back in the hands of the people so that it's not just the nonprofit industrial complex or the corrupt government that is deciding these things. So I'm gonna put like a sign-up sheet over like on that table, so if people want to actually do like organizing and show up and like try and build these systems, and also just grow food if you have a surplus of food, that'd be really awesome. And so I really strongly encourage, like as a white dude with a lot of privilege, like I am able to like spend a lot of time on growing food and doing the support work for these movements, because what like us as white people and us as men are trying to do is like support movements for self-determination for people who really like have been living under these systems of oppression. And the reason I have been doing stuff with Teresa and keep showing up is because I feel closer to liberation myself in like supporting the struggle. So when we're all doing this kind of support work, we're actually gonna like really reap the rewards from it as well. It's not going to be Democrats that are going to do it, by the way. Democrats are not going to liberate us. And like kind of like a side note on all this is this event and all the events and actions that y'all show up to represent a huge amount of emotional labor that Teresa puts into everything. And I really encourage everyone, A, to pay her for her work that she's doing and donate to Don't Shoot Her. Also, a lot of us have been doing this for a while, and we like are like sort of like maybe starting to get it a little bit. So like, if you're white, get together with your white friends and talk about your relationship with race. And things suck right now, and just because we have white privilege doesn't mean that we're not also suffering under capitalism and colonialism and white supremacy and patriarchy. So like, let's get together and talk about it so that Teresa doesn't have to keep doing that labor over and over and over again. And like the previous presenter was talking about, like dudes, get together, talk about your dude feelings with your bros, you know? Like, it's really nice. It's like, instead of just like going to like, if you have a partner who's a woman or trans, like, and them doing all that labor for you and like helping you process your feelings, like it's nice to be kind of on the same page with everyone and like be like having those conversations and having all the warm fuzzies that come with it. Yeah, so just grow food.